Hello, this is Ep11 and welcome back to Ars Nouveau. We have some new toys on the server and I want to play with them. So let's go ahead and get started. In here we've got our Xacris from last time. They are working away, or actually they're kind of on break right now because everything's all ready to go, which is perfect. It means we can get moving. If we go across the water here, there is some land that has been sitting here for a while and I have decided what I want to do with it. This canyon here, it had a forest here, had being the operative word. It's no longer a forest. It's going to be a forest when we're done, but it's going to take us a little bit to do that. And along with that, we have ourselves a shiny new book. So I mentioned in the last episode, we got a new mod on the server, which is Malum. I've done a very little bit with it so far. Not too much, I would say. I've gotten a little bit done, but we'll go over what we've got. Inside here, I've got just a couple different things. Weaver's Workbench, this is basically just for decorative armor stuff. So the armor is pretty simple to make. I've got the Spirit Altar, which is how you really get started with actually doing stuff. And I have some other Repair Pylon, Spirit Crucible stuff that we'll go into shortly. What is all this? Malum is a mod primarily about using spirits to do things. And those things is kind of, there's a lot you can do with it. So in here, if I go to @Malum, we've collected a fair bit of stuff so far. Most of this is honestly just from my regular farming ever since we've added the mod. So Chthonic Gold Ore, this is an ore that you can find underground. I do have to go pretty far away to get that, but we'll go over that in a bit as well. Soulstone is kind of how you really get started. You find deep slate soulstone or break it with fortune, and then you can use that to make a scythe. So that's really the first step of the mod, or I guess first step is probably making a encyclopedia. So let's grab the original book. If I have one still, I should. I may not. Anyway, you would make the book, and if you toss it into a well, which is a structure that you'll find in world, underground, and in this case 10,000 blocks that direction. It took a bit to find it. I just kind of went to new chunks until I could find something and then went down into caves. So it's not too far into the mod at this point. You toss this in, you get it back. You know, it upgrades it, so it unlocks two different parts of the book. If you've ever played Thaumcraft, this is very similar setup to that. You've got individual entries here with some mostly lore and stuff like that, as well as what you can do with each of them. If I scroll that direction, there we go. Like I said, make a scythe. Do that. You can enchant it with whatever. I have it just with unbreaking because it was getting broken. We're going to get into some of the stuff here, and to start with that, Spirit Infusion. This is made with just runewood, which is a tree you find in the world, and gold, and then some more of that refined soulstone, which is cooking soulstone. It's a pretty base. It's kind of like the first thing that you would make, besides the scythe, I guess. As you go up, you can get into different things like these pacts, which you can power up your character, and then totems up here, which we will get started in shortly. So there's no lines, there's no really anything. You can kind of jump around, do whatever you would like here. There's whole like trinkets and stuff, which I haven't really done anything with. There's runes, there's some material manipulation stuff, which is I briefly started it just to kind of see the function of it and how I can use that in my base. And today I would like to actually get started on this proper. And like I said, the whole focus of this mod is on collecting spirits and doing things with them. One of the spirits, which is kind of more annoying for me to get at the moment, is aerial spirits, which, as you might guess, come from things in the air, or things that are fast, I guess. I think spiders drop it as well. The way you get them is you just kill things with your scythe. Now you'll notice I have my scythe in my main hand and a spellbook in the main hand. And that also counts. It just prevents me from having to actually use the durability, and I can use my magic instead. So let's kill a couple of these guys while we are waiting for some phantoms to spawn. You'll notice they don't actually spawn as items, they spawn as entities and fly towards you, which is pretty cool. I really like the phantoms though, because they kind of explode like fireworks. So let's kill a couple more of these guys. You can see basically each thing has its own specific drop that it'll give. These guys have the purple and the green. Anything around me? There's a creeper over there. Creeper nearly killed me earlier. I did make a soul woven pouch, which is, again, it's pretty basic. Soul woven silk is just putting stuff in the altar here. we can go over how to make that. It basically just kind of collects everything for me, which makes it not clutter my inventory, which is lovely. Still no phantoms. Why are there no phantoms? Of course, right as I cut that clip, I hear you. There you go. And I'm apparently an absolutely terrible shot with my projectile spells here. But they explode nicely. Where are you going? So yeah, each of these different colors represents a different kind of aspect of souls. There's basically 4 elemental and then 4 metaphysical, I guess you could call it. Such as innocence is sacred, which is mostly from passive mobs. You've got the dark purple here, which is malice from evil mods, such as, you know, all these guys that are trying to kill me right now. Fire from this guy here, as well as from my gold farm up there, drops a ton of the fire-based because they are all nether mobs up there. Yeah, that's kind of the basics. Here's a sapling. I planted this. We had a bunch of these guys, apparently even after World Gen, adding the mod added in the trees. I don't think we have any of the ores or anything in this area, but we can go to new chunks for that. So let's head back to base and we can kind of go over what we're doing. To really get started in this mod, we're going to need a couple things. Number one is we're going to need these trees, runewood. You'll recognize them because it's a dark stem, or dark trunk, whatever. Bright orange leaves, and you'll have these exposed runewood logs in the middle sometimes. Next up, you're going to need a couple different ores. These are found deep in the ground. Chthonic gold, brilliant deep slate, and brilliant deep slate ore. Basically, just look for these and you'll be ready. This is really the main thing, the soulstone. It is kind of difficult to find this. I will say most of mine actually came from a well, which there is not one within 8,000 blocks here. Basically, you can then toss, if you find that, it's deep underground, it's pretty hard to miss, it's big and dark and mysterious. You can toss raw metals down it. So in this case, I had a whole bunch of copper, so I threw like 5 stacks of copper in and got 5 stacks of soulstone out. So plenty of that. The last thing you're going to need once you get that is you'll make a crude scythe in the spirit altar, and after that you just kind of start killing. I have a whole bunch of animals here. I've got 2 of each over in a small pen over there because we're going to need some more of these. So I have a soul woven pouch, which is a thing you can make with silk here. It's pretty simple in the spirit infusion, but all that to show you can just kind of kill these guys here and it will be very good. Put a harm spell, put you in offhand. I do have this enchanted with spirit plunder, so I get a little bit extra. But basically, you just kind of do that. It's quite effective. Yeah, so I got me a stack of earthen, a whole bunch of the sacred, which is you get that from like passive mobs and stuff like that. That's really a more difficult one to get because the others you'll get a whole bunch of as you're just walking around, you know, surviving the night and stuff like that. But the innocent spirits are a little bit more annoying to get. Let's take that off and send that home real quick. Don't need you and don't need you. So what I would like to do, let's put all these back to storage, there we go, is I would like to make a couple things. Base is over there. This area here I cleared out. It was an Archwood forest. I want to make this as sort of a spirit sanctuary, if you will, because we've got these trees, but there's another part of this mod that gets a bit more blighted. It's going to kind of ruin this whole area. So my plan is to set this up as a nice little enclosure so that when I am growing the trees and stuff, it doesn't start spreading everywhere. So let's put those back as well. I don't need that or that. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, I will later on be automating this and putting it in my base there, hooking up to the Electro network and all of that fun stuff. But for the moment, I'm over here because I'm going to do a thing that I'm expecting to explode. I don't actually know if it'll explode at that part or a different part over here. So I think right here looks like a nice spot for an epicenter for an explosion though. That's going to craft up. I need a whole bunch of this hex ash here. It's just the arcane, which you get from just about everything. just gunpowder, so pretty cheap. You just make it and it starts crafting up. While that is going on, I would like to make a suspicious device. This needs warp flux, which is just from killing endermen. Alchemical calx, which we'll have to make next, which is arcane, earth, and aqueous, and clay. I grabbed some clay. I've got some arcane, aqueous. Arcane was where you're here. Okay. So once it's crafting, let's go ahead and make the clay as well. Like I said, I don't know if it will explode here or if it will explode at the next step, but we'll see, I guess. So put you in there and this should start crafting up. So this is part of a different part of the mod with the little thing over here, the crucible. It's kind of the resource generation method. And it does specifically say to not do this, which is of course why I have to. So if I go over here, there's all these different augments that can make it faster. It's for like generating like crystals and metals and stuff like that. There's all these sorts of things that will speed it up, slow it down, improve stability. Then there's this suspicious device. However, this just causes violent entropy as arcane flows eagerly into the end state of eldritch and the result is corruptive explosion. I have to do it. It says to not do it, so I have to do it. Normally to get the blight, you'd go through the totems and rites and stuff like that. But I gotta see what happens. Well, so far nothing. I probably have to start actually generating something. I think I've got a couple in here. Impetus. We'll use just the regular alchemical for this one, and I've got some infernal, and I think that one... What's this one get me? That gets me glowstone. Yeah, I can always do glowstone. We'll do the one with arcane as well. Sure, why not? I'm expecting to lose half of this, so we'll put you in there, you in there, you in there. You haven't exploded. Let's grab our tuning fork. Where are you? So that's what happens. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I hope you like this biome, because this whole area is going to be it. Let's see what happens. A lovely tree. Ooh, and we got some crystals. Perfect. I was hoping to get these. Some scarstone. Nice, nice. So I think basically this stuff here, if you grow it, maybe grow the ground, it just spreads. You occasionally get these saplings here, which, yeah, that's the plan. I want more of these saplings, I want more of these trees, and I want more of this crystally stuff. I'm gonna have fun with this biome. As a quick reminder to all the Thaumcraft fans out there, I do want to point out, this is not taint. It is not Thaumcraft taint that'll spread everywhere. This does not spread on its own. With one very, 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 very big asterisk, which is when it spreads, it creates these wonderful things called soulwood saplings. And the catch is, if this is there, the sapling can grow, right? It's still a sapling, it'll still grow into a tree eventually, and it will quite happily spread all of this as the tree grows. So while yes, the taint or the blighted earth here on its own is not going to spread itself technically, the tree will. And as it spreads that tree, then it plants more saplings, and then that sapling grows, and then that spreads it more. So you do need to be aware of that. Also, if you plan on using the soulwood for anything, you're going to need to be growing these, and whether it's natural growth, that was a natural growth right there, I didn't hit it with bone meal or anything, just be aware of that. That it is quite happy to spread these. You can see I've got quick border I threw down here. My original plan for this whole thing is to enclose this whole area so that it won't spread. So there are certain materials that it won't spread onto. And I'm at least hoping that the, what is this, the twisted rock and tainted rock, I'm hoping that those are ones that it will not grow over. I'm pretty sure it won't because they're not listing the able to be replaced by it tag. Tainted rock, block palette, that fun stuff, as opposed to like grass or dirt here where if we look through that at some point there about where the weed is there, right here, there is Malum Blight replaceable. So this one will happily be replaced as shown right here. So be aware of that. Wherever you plan on using any of this stuff, it will, it says it doesn't spread, but that's only half of the story. It does spread. So you do have to be aware of that. What I'm doing here, like I was talking, I'm going through and looking for any more of these saplings. I do want it to spread through this whole area that's blocked off. I kind of planned out, I want to have a little lake right here as well. So I've got plans for this. I'm fine with it spreading here, but I do just need to keep an eye on it because when it spreads, it makes these guys. So, my plan now, so what I was doing here while kind of growing that is the spirit altar here. I've had it start producing a bunch of twisted rock and tainted rock. So this is a stack each of the crystals. If I hit R on that, it needs wicked spirit and arcane spirit, and then just cobblestone, cobble deep slate, those fun stuff. That'll produce twisted rock, and similarly, sacred and arcane will get you the tainted rock. So there's a whole bunch of different textures for those as well. So I would like to start using some of those to build up kind of an enclosure wall around this whole area here. But I think at the moment what I'm going to do is there are some things I would like to make that will make life a bit easier. While I'm going through here with growing some of this stuff, I do want to point out one of the rules that I've noticed here. If you bone meal your blight, it will spread. Yay. But you'll notice this dirt here, it did not get converted. It has a block on top of it. It only does the top layer. So what I'm doing here is kind of clearing some areas, wanting to get rid of all of the dirt because the grass is very brightly colored here. As well as I would like more of the scarstone. So I'm just breaking this all and replacing it with dirt. And hoping that it'll spread over next time I grow it. So I also need to be careful with kind of cliffs like this. Like that block right underneath there, that one's not going to convert. If I have too high anywhere, then it's not going to convert that either. So let's go ahead, patch that up, and go ahead and grow more. And no scarstone, unfortunately. Why are you not converting? There we go. Weird. Anyway, the rules for getting the scarstone here, I'm not entirely sure if there is a system or if it's just purely luck-based. I've been talking to Waveclaw here in chat. Apparently it will grow over the blighted areas if I just keep like bone mealing it. So I'm gonna keep trying to do that, try to get more of this. It's just an interesting colored rock, so I'd like to have more of it. I might see if there's a way I can set up some sort of auto production for it as well. I don't know if there is. Might work, might not. I don't know. Nope, none here. Quick science experiment here. I've got some dirt, tainted rock, and twisted rock. If I right click on the blighted earth here, it does not replace these, which makes sense. There's a tag here you can look for, which is blight replaceable. So for instance, these leaves here, various types of grass are. Let's see, I think I'm currently searching for just blight right now. Malum blight replaceable, halfway down. Yep. So all these here, just 2 pages is all that I've got. Mostly vanilla, kind of natural blocks. These are all chipped stuff for dirt, and dirt is replaceable, so that makes sense. Various sands here from the biomes we've gone. Other than that, it's actually a pretty small list, so I'm not too concerned about this. My main thing I wanted to check was for these 2 stones, because I'd like to use them. That was that color before. I had placed it on top of. I'm going to patch that up with dirt, actually. And then we can grow you again. Okay. Let's get rid of our saplings, and let's get back to work, because like I said, there's some stuff I would like to make that will be a bit nicer. There's one thing, I have a list up here actually. Ring of Arcane Prowess, Spirit Collection generates experience. Right now, experience is pretty useful because we have all these relics. So I've got a Ring of Thrift that makes things cheaper to cast. I've got shadow glaive, which bounces around between things. These wings, which are basically just a duplicate of my gliding thread, but useful. Lots of stuff like that. There are a lot of various curios. There are a lot of things I can do with these like resonance stuff to be able to generate resources. There's these pacts, which are basically just permanent buffs for the player. As well as we have the Enchanter's Scythe, which is from a kind of like a bridge mod compatibility between Ars Nouveau and Malum here. So that allows, it's a scythe, but allows you to treat it as like a enchanter's sword here. So that's a cool thing. The soul-stained steel sword, that is needed to make the glyph of soul shatter, which is basically another attack spell. But it works for getting spirit, which will be useful. Other than that, runewood obelisk, that'll speed up my workbench, the spirit altar, and I have plans for automating that. And then there's also these runes. So lots of cool stuff here. If we look at Malum, lots of different things, lots of weapons, lots of tools, different rings and stuff that do different things like that. Runes have just lots of random bonuses. Kind of cool stuff. There's also ether, which looks suspiciously like Thumbcraft Niter. And then there's a whole bunch of cool building blocks I would like to get. Basically just kind of expand my building palette back at the base. And maybe use it for some material generation. We've got zinc is one for create, is useful, tin, things I can do stuff with. Anyway, lots of cool stuff I'd like to get into, so let's go ahead. When I first came to this island and decided to build the school here, I planted this lantern right here. I've since switched out the block that's underneath it, but this was the first lantern I placed here. And to be honest, it's actually a lantern from Creative, because we were using that for exploring the world, making sure everything worked, and happened to have it in my hand still when I switched back to survival. So it's technically a cheated lantern anyway, but whatever. Either way, it sits here, and I would like there to still be something here with that lantern. So I'm going to leave that there for now. I'll have to figure out what I want to do with it. I also had found this guy right here. He didn't have the source gem lamp. He was over that direction on the corner of the island, and I moved him over here. He is also existing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move your chest back outside. I made a copy of him over on that side, over there. So he's going to go away now. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of him. Thank you. You have served your purpose. Actually, you haven't yet, but either way, I'm going to have him standing guard over there by the blighted area. I want to have that kind of like a little blight sanctuary almost. The lore being that the students need to go study over there occasionally. So, it may not be safe, but whatever, they're students. So let's patch up that, and I don't need these guys here anymore, so I'm going to break them out as well. What I'm going over here is I need a place to set up this mod. And I think that this little room right here, when I built it, I didn't really have a plan for this yet, but I think this is going to be a good place for it. I think. Cleared out everything in here, kind of filled in a little bit of that so I can have a bit more definition of what this room's going to look like. And I think we are ready to start planning things out. So there's kind of a few main things I need. I need a spirit altar. That's going to be at least a 5x5, but probably more likely a 7x7 area that I'll have. Similarly, Spirit Crucible is also going to be about the same 7x7-ish area. Repair Pylon can be smaller. It can be close to this and be able to repair what's in there, which is one option. It can also maybe stand on its own and repair things separately. Other than that, totems are going to be kind of like their own systems wherever I put them. The Soul Binding Brazier is going to be used for later game stuff for these like permanent attribute thingies. My plan for that, I think, is actually going to be the top of this tower. A little platform up here, just because it has a kind of cool particle effect around it when it's running, and it doesn't need to be loaded. And that comes into play. I've got this orange mage block here is marking out unloaded areas. Specifically, if I go to F3G, you can see our chunks. These are loaded along here, basically all the way to over here, this 3x3, the next 3x3 over there, all that fun stuff. Those orange ones there are not loaded. And this is basically just planning out for if I want to put something over in this water here. If I loaded right there and over here, adding 2 more chunk loaders, then it would cover that orange area. But right now, none of that is loaded, and I think for now we're fine with that. Mainly because the soul binding brazier is going to be if I am home. It's not going to run if I'm not, physically standing here running it. So I think it's probably okay to not be always loaded and not be within the loaded area of my base. I think that's fine. However, everything else here, namely the spirit altar specifically, I do want them to be loaded because I want to set up some automation for that. I think all the automation for it can be underground here if I dig out a basement under here. So that would leave this area, this room here, to be kind of more of the decorative side of just seeing what we can see. I think that'll work out. So I'm gonna plan. If you are a 7x7, do I have my wand on me still? Yes. My wand that previously was orange is now pink because we changed particles. Anyway, yeah. So notably, this line right here is not loaded. So that's important. So if I put it in that corner or any part of it in this corner, this won't be loaded, and that will potentially be a problem. If I instead plan on it being like 9x9, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that is taking up a lot of room. And technically it's just the 7x7 in the middle here that actually matters. So if I put the altar, I'll put it right here for now. I've got 2 of these because I thought one might explode. Let's break you. So 1, 2, 3 gets me the 7x7, and we'll just pretend it's a 9x9 because of the wall here. Or maybe I'll use that for decoration as part of the wall. I don't know. Does that work, or does that take up the entire room? All right, rough layout is ready. I think what I'll do is I'll have a little shrine of some sort here to kind of commemorate the first lantern, the first sign of civilization here. This, I think I'll put some stuff over in this corner, and I'll have this corner here available. I'm not sure if I'll put anything in here. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, I don't know. But I like this being a little kind of raised platform here. So what's the first thing we're going to do? The first thing is I would like to make this faster. It's slow right now. So runewood obelisk, this is used to speed things up, speed up this whole process, and that needs hallowed gold. Hallowed gold needs gold and quartz. I realized I think 8 times, yeah, I only need half a stack of the nether quartz now. I'll put you back, thank you. This is actually a pretty straightforward thing to make. So really the main problem with this mod is trying to find spirits. So if you can get spirit plunder on here, I just threw this in the enchanting table a few times, kept grinding it off. It works out. So that gets you what you'll need for most of the stuff in this mod. So we'll put our spirits on there, we'll get our gold, we'll put it in, and it's gonna move up saying, all right, I'm ready for a recipe. So now we actually need to add quartz. There we go. So this can all be automated. So the spirit altar I had over there for making the tainted and twisted rock stuff, you can hopper into it. So if you can hopper into it, you can probably use a lectern for it. So my plan is I will set up some automation underneath here to basically be able to handle batching and stuff like that. For individual crafts like this, my plan is I'll just have, throw my items into the input tab and then hit the command to start a batch of this. I may end up doing a whole recipe handler like I did with the apparatus, but I haven't decided if I want to do that or not yet. Because if I do that, it's going to end up slowing everything down here, and I don't know if that actually adds much as opposed to just grabbing the items I need and making a craft. So apparatus, I wanted that automated so I can do enchanting stuff specifically. This, it's mostly just going to be individual crafting of items, and I don't think I'm going to need too much, and it's not too slow when it's, running. So now that is done, runewood, you need 2 planks per, I need 16 aerial and 8 of sacred. So let's grab our spirit. I said 16, which means I need a full stack of that because I need 4 of those. And sacred was these here, and that needs, how many was that? 8 per, I'm making 8. No, I'm making 4. 32. Yeah. Put you on. There. There. Gold goes there, and we can grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I really like that this can process in batches. It just means that once you get your items ready, you can throw everything on and it'll just start running. You will notice it throws things in the air. So that'll be a thing. I think if I put a lay in a jar, basically 2 blocks down from here, I think that should be close enough to be able to grab things. We'll see though. I don't know the range on these. I think for visual, I'd prefer if it was out here one, so it's not as cramped around it. But the problem with that is, again, this last line here is not going to be loaded, so I don't think I want to actually do that. I think that works. Yeah, so we have our altar ready. Next up, one of the tools that I said I wanted is a ring that basically, when you kill things and get the spirits from it, gives you more experience. The main thing for that is I would like to turn my gold farm into an experience farm. So let's go ahead, make ourselves a gilded ring that used one of the hallowed gold, which isn't too difficult to get. We just made that. Ring of arcane prowess itself, however, needs 4 raw brilliance and 4 alchemical calcs. I think I have some. Yes, good idea. 4 of this. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is an ore found underground. It's kind of rare. I will eventually go scrying for that, but I don't have it yet. And calcs with an X. I think I said 4 of these too. Anything else that I need? 4 and 4, and then 32 arcane. I am starting to run low on arcane. I will have to find a good source for them, but for right now, I think it's probably fine. Ring on there. Brilliance can go in. Calcs can go in. That can start running. Perfect. The next thing I need is a soul-stained steel sword to make the glyph of soul shatter, as well as a enchanter's scythe I would like too, and that will take a regular soul-stained scythe, which needs, I think, 4 of this. So what is that? That's 6. I think that works. Math. How do I make you? Wicked, earthen, arcane, and some refined soulstone. Similar to the enchanting apparatus, you can actually arrange this however you'd like. I don't remember the exact size area, but I decided to move my pedestals to the sides like that so that I can walk up the stairs nicely, and I don't have a pedestal right here. I just put a chiseled tainted rock underneath it, purely for looks, doesn't actually impact anything. This whole thing's just for looks. Let's go ahead and put ash on there. I need 4 of you, and I need 1, 2, 3, 4 of you as well. Put you on any of them, and it has Spirit Plunder 2 and 110 durability. I don't know if it will keep the enchantment, or if it needs to be unenchanted, or if I got the recipe wrong. 4, 2, 4, yes. 16 Earth, Wicked, and Arcane. 16, 8, and 8. Earth, Elder. Oh, that's not Wicked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Arcane, Eldritch, there we go. Wicked and Arcane. There we go. Helps to actually read. I like this. It's really nice. I do want to figure out an actual interior area here. I think what I'm going to do is use something to kind of have like a walkway almost. So it's like using maybe some of this twisted rock for the actual pathway in here. The deep slate was kind of just a filler anyway, but we'll see. Do you have an enchantment on you? You do. Awesome. That's good to know. +2. Okay, that's from the Spirit Plunder. I don't know if this helps me get anything more than it did before or what, but I guess the first question, actually while we're here, let's grab 2 of you and stick. Make ourselves a steel sword, and let's go make ourselves that glyph that we needed. I think it's just a tier 2 is what it is. Can I find you? That's always the first question. I assume it's alphabetical order. Soul shatter. Yeah, it should be good. Let's see. I need, that was an essence. Which type? That was one of you. And I need I want to say that was that Wicked or was that Eldritch? Wrong thing. You. Wicked. Okay, perfect. I don't have that on me. 1 of you. Perfect. And I have plenty of those from, again, the gold farm. So let's toss you you, and the other one was essence, right? Memory. Glyph of Soul Shatter. I don't know how much this does. My current setup that I'm using is a lightning spell. So if we just kind of compare, hit you right now. Basically just the 10 is what's going on here. I am kind of ignoring, I'm wasting the spark damage here because I don't have a delay on there, so they're both hitting at the same time, so only one of those is actually hitting. So that's what that does. Let's take, I don't need this one anymore. Just to compare, if I do projectile and spirit shatter on your own, 12. So that's already more. Okay. But let's see how well this works actually in practice. It says that it has a chance to release the spirits inside. So I don't know if that is only on kill like that, which would be normal, or if it's a chance maybe when they take damage, or what. So far these have just been on death. The thing is that it doesn't have the spirit plunder on it then, which is a little annoying. I would like to have that. So far it's just on actual death here. Because the thing is, with my current spell, it'll arc two things around it. So that's a really nice thing to have. Because it basically just means that everything is always a like built-in AoE splash damage, which is really nice. So it says chance, but it's basically just acting as though it has that. The like scythe thing. Okay, good to know. Let's try it with this setup then. So while holding this, it does give me more drops, so it's the same as what I was doing before. What about you? I want to still see if it will explode them before killing them. If so, that could be kind of interesting. Either way, it's going to be, you know, more than I need anyway, but I do like the built-in splash damage that I had before. So here's my existing, if I can hit. I don't know, I'll have to play with it. Right, and I do have that ring equipped, so I want to see if I can hit. Does this give me experience? It does. Okay. It's not like a lot, but that is definitely something, and that will add up quite quickly in the gold farm. Again, the gold farm, though, I'm going to want to use this with a splash damage spell, like the one I'm currently using here. I'll have to play with the Soul Shatter glyph, and maybe there's something I can do to combine them, or something like that. I don't know. Maybe they... Actually, maybe if I add this, and let's add in a spark and a discharge here. I can see spark, there we go, and discharge is there. So if I hit you with this, not a great indicator because they're taking damage anyway. Anyway, like I said, I'll have to play around with this and see if there's anything interesting I can do. It might be able to still arc and still like get souls from him if I'm not holding the scythe, but I'll just test that. So I'll be honest, I don't actually know how much of this is going to be considered spoilers or not, so sorry. I traveled a ways, found a well underground. Specifically, I just kept traveling west until I found like runic trees, runewood trees up top, and figured I'd come down, try to look for some brilliance and the, whatever it's called, the stuff you make everything out of. Soulstone, yes. So this is one that I found a while ago, and it looks like Waveclaw said he was down here, made a little blight forest down here. Lovely. I'm sitting here on top of a bunch of copper ore, so let's go ahead and switch this from being copper to being something a bit shinier than that. Let's see, let's scroll over. If I switch these, middle mouse click, by the way, bumps everything over. Huge change, wonderful. We're gonna bump up our luck on that and break all of it. Cool. That gave me a whole bunch of raw copper. I don't need copper specifically for much this time around. So if we toss this in to our weeping well here, it doesn't like it. Rather specifically, it switches it over to, where did that go? There's a source jar here. Is there a collection system that he put in place here? Oh, right. Soulwoven pouch picks things up. Okay, cool. I'm just going to throw the rest of the raw copper in here. It's just switching this all over to being the raw soulstone. I can convert some of that over to void stone. In fact, I'm going to do that. I've got a quick little rune set up here. Let's get ourselves a smelt and give me a pierce back, please. And let's go ahead and, I can just drop it right here. You and you. We'll do 2 stacks of this can be smelted up. Did that work? Yes. Again, this pouch is throwing me off. Now the refined soulstone, there's a lot of things I can do with that. I have a whole bunch back in my storage. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to toss this into here. We'll do 3 stacks, why not? I expected that to go into my soulwoven pouch, but either way, yeah, bunch of null slate. This is used for a few different things, but you can also make an interesting bright shiny block, which I want to use for decoration. Yes, I came here just for decorative blocks. And while we're here, something I'd made a little bit ago, with the anomalous design, you get that by getting a block of iron, tossing it in. That gets us a completed design after you craft it together with the spirit thing. I'm going to toss 4 of those in. I would like to see, I don't really have any specific plans for needing these at the moment, fused consciousness. But you never know, it may be interesting and useful at some point. I figure I'll get it while I'm here, because it's kind of annoying to hike all the way out here. We do have a couple portals set up though, so that does make it a little bit easier. At some point I will go around and start scrying for the raw brilliance ore, as well as maybe some more soulstone ore. But for right now, I don't really need too much of that, so I'm going to start flying. You can see with, I have distant horizons, so that is why it sometimes loads in with greatly reduced level of detail. But it does allow me to be able to see everything all at once. So let's head back to base. Alrighty, back at base here. I have a spirit altar. I've done a little bit of decorating. I would like to set up some automation for this. So I want to add it into my existing system where I can just open up my enchanter eye and, send a command to it, or in this case, I'm going to have it be just a very basic command of whatever's on the input tab, send it all here. The reason is I think that's going to be enough, honestly. I think that's all that it actually needs. Now, again, if I do F3G, that is the edge of the loaded chunk, so I'm not going to put anything in that section. I was about to. We'll put it on this wall instead. We'll put it here so it's lined up. And let's add, I don't think I'll need more than 2 for right now of those guys. The order here is going to be important. If I fly up, because the way this works is if I put a chest next to that, let's grab a chest in fact. Just one, thank you. If I put a chest next to this, what'll happen is it will pull them all in one at a time. And that's all well and good. And it'll do it in the order that I linked it. So if I take, this is a prestidigitation block by the way, the particle there is from Xacris. We have Ars on the server, which is like a crossover, so it allows us to use those particles. I like them. Anyway, if we right click the spirit altar, it puts the domain wand in there, which is not what I wanted. I don't want to take you guys out either. I'd like to have the item be the first thing. Sneak right click, position set, and let's bound you bind you to there. So that is the first thing selected. That means whatever goes in here, for instance, if I put, let's grab, what was the other item? I didn't have an item to put in there. That's why it went in. We'll do a tainted rock. Whatever. If we go zip and add everything, what'll happen is it will start adding everything to that. And importantly, you'll notice that these spirits will start orbiting and the item will go in the middle. That is exactly what I wanted and is great. Let's take all these out again. And that one. Thank you. Next up, we are going to add in each of these pedestals. So let's land here. If I sneak right click you, go up, and we'll just do this for all of them. There's only 4, so why not? You as well. And last but not least, you. Now if we look in here, we can see we have a bunch of random junk. Soul stained steel plating, that's just made from regular crafting in here. I think at this point we are ready for this to work. So I'm going to take these out again. I'll put it right here. Like so. And we'll grab you. And I'm doing this in a kind of a specific order. The bookworms are going to go away. I want to see if this works. I think it should. I've got here a gilded belt, a bunch of spirits, some random other stuff. If we put all this into here, like so, everything should go exactly where it needs to go. Let's go ahead and patch this up. You guys can go away. I don't think they drop spirits, but we'll find out. And you can see it started crafting. Perfect. Belt of the Mage Bane. We're going to take this, put it on our belt slot here, because this gives us some soul ward. So 40% soul ward recovery rate, 6 soul ward capacity, and soul ward reroutes mana. I'm not entirely sure what that does. But I wanted to see what the soul ward stuff does and acts and feels like. I believe it is very similar to Thaumcraft runic shielding, but thank you. Ah, yes, you can see the bottom corner there, or under, just above my armor. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure. I guess maybe each of these is 1 charge, because it said 6 charges, I think. Yes, 6 soul ward capacity. So it's either going to give me 3, or it's going to give me 6. Or it's going to give me 2, because each of those is 3. Makes sense, because I can see 3 colors there. Okay, cool. And next up, I've dug a small tunnel here from our weather machine area down below over to underneath where we just were. So let's go ahead and stick, I don't know where to put this. I'll put it right here for now. This is going to be just the command input. I don't know if this is going to reach, so we're going to pretend that it won't, and we're just going to stick it right here in front of this coal. Perfect, that works. Grab our Dominion Wand, and let's go ahead and link. Now everything needs to link back to the primary, remember? So we will take you from here to here, and then all the way back to this one here. Should be able to reach. Yes, okay. So that is now linked up to the command input. And we will also need to have ourselves a storage one, or an inventory one rather, or items, whatever my wording was. Let's go, yeah, that might be able to reach. We'll pretend that it can. And over here, yes, perfect, okay. So commands are on cyan, items are on indigo, and primary is purple. We already have a primary access over here up above. So what we can do then is this now should be set up to there. And you get added to the item line. So from you to you, perfect. And a display case will go right underneath from here. And you are going to be powering a spell turret right there. So we'll link the display case all the way back as well to the command line. Yes. Display case goes to the command line. But let's go the other direction. And the items here, you are already linked, so you're fine. Let me double check that. Throw a bunch of stone in there. You have stone. Perfect. Good. I think this is almost ready. If we switch this from that to just be, we'll call it just toss. You need to be projectile and toss. Right there. And 4 is probably enough. Each of these I think doubles it, so it's at 1 stack, 2, 4, 6, 8 stacks. You know what, we'll do one more. That's 16 stacks, which will be more than enough. Add you there. Perfect. We need an item for the display case for the commands, and we also will need some power over here. I should have some jars though. I think I haven't actually added source jars to my auto crafting yet. I probably should do that. You can just go right there. And you will need a relay. I don't know. You know, I'm probably going to need more source through here as well. Let's add ourselves a splitter relay. I should have one. Relay. Yes, I've got plenty of regular relays, and I should have a handful of splitters. Perfect. I need that one as well. And this, I don't really have a good place for this yet. I think what I'll do for now is I'll just put it kind of here. I'm planning on having a roof or a second floor in this, so I'll put it right here for now, I think. Should be good. And we'll go from you down to that jar. Cool. And last but not least, let's grab from our line that's coming in here. There we go. With that is basically ready to go. I gotta find out what I want as my command. Over here, we've got a whole bunch of random doors that I've been using. So if we take a look at our commands here, we've got the purple glass doors. I've been using those for the apparatus. Right now, these green ones are currently just the rain commands. I also have access to these I can use. I just need to add them to our allow scroll. Right now, it's just witch hazel and star apparatus, but that's the purple glass, what that means. In fact, let me not have you. You go in here. Yes. Do I not have any other purple glass doors? Oh, right, because I broke one without silk touch. That's why I only have 2. I was wondering because it makes it in batches of 3. What do I want to use for this? You know, I think I'm going to use this. We've got a bolted soulwood board door, which is made from soulwood, and I should have a bit of that at this point. So let's do soulwood. Clear you out. I think you need to be planks though, don't you? So clear that, and it should get me perfect soulwood doors, and we'll grab a nugget of iron, gets us a bolted soulwood door. That is a different thing. That's not a soulwood board door. Do I care? I don't think I care. We'll use that one. You need to be added to our list here though, so that you will go into the right place. Take you out. There shouldn't be any items coming in passively at the moment, so it shouldn't mess up that. If we put you in the main hand, you in the offhand, adds it. Just double check, bolted soulwood door, cool. That goes in there. We can put you back there, right side up. And you, my friend, get renamed. Alrighty, we're gonna put that in here. Spirit altar, emit if greater than 0. Yes, that's right. That should be ready. I am actually curious if I were to remove this chest and just beam it straight into that, if that will work. I don't know if it will because they're considered different inventories. I don't know if that'll mess with something. So let's go ahead and test that. Hex ash, is there anything I need? I'll use a fair bit of you. You're mostly used for infusions. I think that's about it. I'll make some more soul stained steel for refined materials. Alrighty, let's give this a quick test. open this, go to our input tab, and we're going to put the iron in the middle, and everything else can just kind of go in as well. Now with this, if I go to commands and just add in our spirit altar, it should automatically start crafting. I like that. There's one more thing I want to do, and this occurred to me the other day. I would like to have sort of a erase button. Oh, this is only half done anyway. Last thing is a real quick one. That's just a LA in a jar, which I think I have one. I should have looked for LA. There we go. An LA and a lectern is what I need. I have one on me. You are quite simple. We're just going to put you... this is the unloaded. So I guess over on this side would work. Put you there, and we'll put the LA on top. Nope. I broke it. Grab you. LA right there. So that will start trying to pull into there. And let's go ahead and link you up as well. That's a real quick one because that's just from right here to our main line. Perfect. Now if I drop something there, is that... Did that work? Should I probably check this first? Soul stain, there's 10 in there right now. And 11. Okay, so it can reach all the way to over here. I don't think it's going to toss them that far, but that works. I might... You know what? I am going to. We're going to move you underneath. Doesn't need to be anything too fancy. We're just going to put you right there. You're upside down. That is fine. If I put this there, I think it may stick up through the top. So I'm going to put it right here instead. Grab our Dominion Wand. Link you up to the primary. There we go. And all this should be good. Okay. Right. Back to the other thing. If I accidentally sent the wrong stuff here, it's now stuck here and I have to walk over here and go fix it because it's all stuck in this lectern and I don't have access to this lectern from my main storage. So what we're going to do is we are going to, I think, just get another basic turret, and I think we can just kind of beam it directly in again. So if I go to, let's grab a prism. Then I can go up here. This is our main lectern network. If I put a prism right there, put a spell turret on top of here, and grab another display case. Put you right there, and if I name that one something like empty spirit lectern or whatever it's called, then what I can have it do is I can just have it pull everything out all at once. And if there's any extra stuff up there, if I send the wrong number of spirits or whatever, I can just hit end, and it will just wipe everything, send it all back to storage. I think this is a thing that I'm going to use on a lot of my automation stuff, especially the apparatus. I don't want to have to like fly up and check and make sure that I put in the wrong things or whatever. This would give me just an erase button. So I can just hit this, it'll clear everything from the spirit altar up there and send it back to storage, which I think is going to be really helpful. So with that, we have ourselves some very basic and very straightforward automation for the spirit altar. Yeah, it's just when items go in here, I'll send the command, it sends everything to the lectern, and when it's done producing them, it gets picked up by the LA and sent to storage. Similarly, these right here will be for sending stuff back to storage if I forget something in the altar and I need to clear it. I did add one small thing down here, but it's currently not hooked up to anything at all. If I were to put something in the altar, so let's put a tainted rock in there. Close you, thank you. Then what will happen is this will detect that there's now less than 13 air, and it will emit a redstone signal. Similarly, I have a hopper pointed into this dropper so that the item will normally sit in the dropper, but when this turns on, it'll deposit it in the hopper here and power it so it locks it. This will allow me to do, I'll be able to do some automation with that as well. It's not hooked up to anything, but I would be able to monitor that with a lectern and have it be a signal saying that there is something currently in the altar. So I could use that for automating the auto drain function there. But for right now, it's just kind of infrastructure for the future. I haven't really quite decided how I want to actually use that yet. So for now, it's just going to be there as a kind of unused little thing. There's a lot we can do with this mod. There are a lot of rights that will help us for some automation. I threw together a very quick cobblestone generator the other day using Ars Nouveau, but there's also the ability to break blocks with this. We will absolutely be getting into some of the other automation with the rights and the other trinkets we can build, such as the runes that will give us different buff effects and stuff like that. We will do that in the next episode. I am running out of time here, and we have a whole lot more we can do with this mod. I would like to automate more things with this. I would like to set up some more infrastructure, as well as use it for a bit more decoration. I like having the extra blocks we can use. I think the twisted rock, I think the twisted rock here, I think it goes well. It's kind of a medium shade between the source stone and the smooth source stone, the lighter material. I think I have somewhere around here. So it's a good block between that, as well as a nice grayish white that we can use with the tainted rock. So I'm excited to use all these blocks, all these materials, and all these automation tools. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.